Have you ever felt a secret in your own home? Cold spot in a room that used to be warm? It started for me on a Tuesday, the kind of gray, forgettable Chicago day that chills you to the bone. I was looking for a spare battery in the back of our shared walk-in closet, behind the winter coats that still smelled faintly of pine from our last trip to Wisconsin. That's when my fingers brushed against it. A small, steel-gray safe, no bigger than a shoebox, tucked away on a dusty shelf I hadn't looked at in years. It wasn't mine. My wife, Jessica, and I had been married for 8 years. We shared everything: a bank account, a mortgage on a condo overlooking Lincoln Park, a life, or so I thought. The air in the closet suddenly felt thin, heavy. My heart started a low, painful drumbeat against my ribs. I knew with a certainty that terrified me that whatever was inside that box was not meant for me to see. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far a story flows. For 2 days, the safe was a tumor in my mind. I'd watch Jessica across the dinner table, her smile as bright and effortless as ever, and a wave of nausea would hit me. She was acting different. Not in a way anyone else would notice, but I could feel it. A new password on her laptop. Phone calls taken on the balcony, even in the biting lake wind, her voice a low murmur. She'd become distant. A beautiful stranger living in my house. Her body next to me in bed, but her mind a million miles away. She'd always been a little arrogant, confident in her beauty and her career as a high-powered marketing exec, but now it was laced with something else. A cold, dismissive edge. When I'd ask if everything was okay, she'd give me that look, a mix of pity and annoyance. God, Michael, don't be so needy. I'm just stressed with work. It was a masterful deflection designed to make me feel small, insecure. And for a while, it worked. I felt like I was losing my mind, the loyal, trusting husband suddenly paranoid for no reason. The breaking point came on a Friday night. She was supposedly at a work dinner in the West Loop. I was watching some meaningless game on TV when her credit card sent an alert to my phone, a feature we'd set up for fraud protection. A $350 charge at the Aviary on Fulton Market. It wasn't a dinner place. It was a high-end cocktail lounge, famous for its intimate dark corners. An hour later, another ping. The Hoxton Hotel, just 2 blocks away. My blood ran cold. No answer. No answer. I texted. Nothing. I sat there in the dark, the glow of the TV washing over me, my world shrinking to the size of that glowing screen. She stumbled in at 2 a.m., smelling of expensive gin and another man's cologne. I didn't have to ask. The guilt was written all over her face, quickly masked by defiance. That night, I didn't sleep. I just laid there, a hollowed-out man, listening to the steady, peaceful breathing of the woman who had just shattered my life. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I went back to the closet, the safe. I had to know. I'm an engineer. Puzzles are my trade. It was a simple 4-digit keypad. I tried her birthday, nothing. Our anniversary, nothing. Then a cold dread washed over me. I typed in 0814, August 14th. The date she'd met her ex-boyfriend David in college. It's a man she'd always described as a soulmate from a past life, who'd moved to London years ago. The safe clicked open. Inside, there was no money, no jewelry. It was full of letters. Dozens of them, on thick, creamy paper, the ink slightly smeared as if from tears, and plane tickets. 3 round-trip tickets to London from the past year, all 4 weekends. She was supposedly at work conferences. I started reading. His words were poison, dripping with shared memories and future promises. Her replies were worse. She wrote about me. How I was stable and safe, but passionless. How our life was a comfortable cage she was planning to escape. She called me her gilded placeholder. The humiliation was a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. Sank to the floor of the closet, surrounded by the scent of her perfume and the evidence of her betrayal, and I broke. For a week, I was a ghost. I went to work, I came home, I smiled, but inside, I was gone. The man she'd called a placeholder was dead. In his place, something else was growing, something cold and sharp and strategic. She and David felt untouchable, wrapped in their transatlantic affair, their arrogance a shield against the world. They thought I was a fool. They were about to find out how wrong they were. I stopped being the wounded husband and started becoming a predator. I began gathering proof. I photocopied every letter, every plane ticket. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who worked out of a cramped office in River North. He got me everything. Photos of them kissing outside a pub in Notting Hill. Hotel receipts. Even audio of their hushed phone calls. Jessica complaining about how she had to manage my feelings until her bonus came through, when she'd have enough to leave comfortably. Every piece of evidence was a nail in the coffin I was building for her. The plan formed in the dead of night, a beautiful, terrible machine of revenge. It had two parts, social and legal. Jessica's career was her identity. Her firm was in the middle of a massive merger, and she was on the short list for a huge promotion to senior vice president. The final decision was happening at the annual company gala at the Four Seasons downtown. It was the biggest night of her professional life. Legally, I found the best divorce attorney in Chicago. A shark. We discovered that her company contract had a strict morality clause, and her upcoming 7-figure bonus was contingent on it. Her betrayal wasn't just emotional. It was a financial liability. I set the trap. I waited. The night of the gala was perfect. A clear, cold evening, the city lights glittering like a web of diamonds. Jessica was radiant in a backless black dress, dripping with confidence. She had no idea she was walking into her own execution. As the CEO took the stage to announce the new promotions, I made my move. I had arranged for a special presentation. The massive screens on either side of the stage, which had been showing a corporate slideshow, suddenly flickered. And then, there it was. A high-resolution photo of Jessica and David locked in a passionate embrace on a London street. The date and timestamp clearly visible in the corner. A collective gasp went through the ballroom. The screen changed to excerpts from her letters. My gilded placeholder. Her words magnified for her entire world to see. I watched her face. The color drained from it, her arrogant smile crumbling into a mask of pure horror. Her CEO stared at her, his expression like stone. It was over in 60 seconds. Her career, her reputation, her entire sense of self, incinerated. She ran from the ballroom, didn't follow. The next morning, she was served with divorce papers, along with a notice that I was suing for damages based on the morality clause, tying up her assets and her precious bonus. The fallout was biblical. She was fired. Her friends abandoned her. David, the smug affair partner, vanished. When he learned the money was gone, the soulmate connection apparently evaporated. He blocked her number. She was left with nothing but the echo of her own choices. I sold the condo, moved to a quiet suburb, and never saw her again. Sometimes, on quiet nights, I think about that steel gray safe. It wasn't just full of letters. It was a tomb for the man I used to be, and the cradle for the man I had to become. The silence in my new house is heavy, but it's clean. The end.